I don't know, maybe Hitler has some things that I might agree with him on. Okay.
Wow.
He might like dogs. I like dogs. Yeah, dogs are great. I agree with you on that. I'm not going to rally behind Hitler because as a human being, we don't have the same values. That's how I feel about Andrew Tate. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Juice and Jury podcast. We have Dumo, we have Murad, and we have Kevin here. They're going to give us the male perspective on some of these hot topics that we're talking about.
Yep.
I would say we run the world. I mean, or we're pretty close to it. I think we're definitely moving up. Because men are making a fool of themselves. they really are. Like, if you just see, when you watch the Barbie movie, do you see how the Barbie movie, Barbie?
Oh, that's another thing too. Feminizing men is so prevalent now. Like it's hard to find a man now.
It caused confusion amongst the men, and then they did the vote. Did you not see that part? It actually made men look stupid.
I think that was the point. It was to satire the gender thing.
Yeah, like it shows that men, move with ego, anything, and they're not actually thinking, right? So
I think the problem with majority of Western culture is that people forget their role, right? Naturally, men have unlearned what men are to be.
Supposed to be, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So men are not nurturers, right? Men are providers, right? Men are supporters. Men are there to help their women and children survive by any means necessary. But men today are acting like women because women are complaining about real men. Right? So I think men have forgotten. We no longer have men teaching their kids how to be a man. We have men teaching their kids how to conform and how to fit in, but not how to have an opinion and how to be okay with being different than another person and being able to deal with that. We're saying, no, it's okay. Just say you're okay with that. Just go do that. Just cut your hair just like everybody else is doing. Just wear those pants just like everybody else is doing. But it's not okay to be different because we're so afraid of that.
I feel like, though, you're right, but I also feel like there's a very huge polarization in the idea of what a man is or what a woman is even right now when it comes to gender and sex and stuff. In general, there's so much like conflicting information and chaos and stuff. So there's this whole ideology that men and women are interchangeable. That's one, right? The whole transgender ideology. And on the flip side of that, also gaining a little bit of traction, is this idea, like the Andrew Tates and his following, and this idea that like men are supposed to be these mindless creatures that just control and manipulate and use and abuse. And like, so I don't think either one of those is right? So,
I'm not gonna lie. You mentioned Andrew Tate. I'm a fan of Andrew Tate.
Don't say that to me.
No, I don't.
Don't say that to me.
I'm afraid
Andrew Tate to me.
What's your problem with Andrew Tate?
Like, it's not. No, there's a lot of things. Like, there's a lot. Like the way certain things are done. Sure.
Do you like Andrew Tate?
But the fact that
yes.
Hold on. If anybody here, out of all three of us, would like Andrew Tate, I think Dumo would be the first one to be like, okay, I agree with a lot of the things he says.
Where he looked at you.
It's okay. And I'm not saying, please do not take this as me saying Dumo likes Andrew Tate. I'm just saying, by knowing you as the person you are, right? And what you show yourself to be, which is a great man as well. It's okay to be secure in your manhood. Now, I'm not saying everything Andrew Tate says goes. I'm not saying everything Andrew Tate says is great.
He's like a douchebag.
I'm saying
There's a lot of stuff that he
no,
says. He's a
but
complete douchebag.
he's a douchebag to women who are not trying to hear everything that he's saying.
That's it, man. That's it.
I'm not saying
No,
I agree.
Disagree.
I'm not saying
No, he's
there's-
a horrible human being. Horrible. I hope they lock him up forever.
Let's agree to disagree is one of the dumbest things that has ever been said by human beings. Let's agree to disagree. What's
the dumbest thing?
What did we do today?
Our mic's not working. Wait, just 1 second. The camera.
No, guys, like you like there are things that he's done, like the whole way he's come up in business, like the whole way of his video, like the girls' services and all that. I don't agree. I wouldn't do that.
What do you know about him?
I wouldn't do that. Right? I've followed him. I've followed him and I've listened to a lot of the things he said. I've listened to a lot of his beginnings. I've listened to a lot of his middles, and I see where he's at now. There are things that he says that are factual.
So what?
No, but I'm saying you can't just say Andrew Tate. No, don't talk to me about that guy.
Yeah, he's horrible.
Things that are good for mankind, for manhood.
Look,
right?
He is a horrible person that sprinkles in some truth to confuse everybody.
Right.
He's a horrible, generally speaking, to his core, he's horrible.
Do you know how much charity Andrew Tate does to the
charity with the women he prostitutes and pimps? That's what he's doing with his money. He's giving it to charity. The women that he's manipulating and prostituting and trafficking. You're saying that that's okay that he gives it to charity? Like we should like him? He's a horrible. Anyone who traffics women, I cannot like them. Yeah, he traffics women. To me, I'm sorry. I don't care if he says some truth here and there. No.
Those were false allegations, and they've been proven to be
not
false.
I will send you the videos of him admitting it, and then come and tell me they're false. I'll send you videos of him.
Are they like 30-second snippets of a conversation that he's had?
No, I have several of them. I'm gonna send it to you.
That goes for other men. This is not just Andrew Tate. Everybody takes a lot of shit. They take 10 seconds of something you said in a fucking hour-long conversation about certain things, and then they're like, oh, look what he said. Oh, he's the devil. And look, I'm not telling you that Andrew Tate is an angel by any means. I'm not saying he's my role model. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm just saying, like, there are things that he says that people have forgotten about that are real. Like how men are, the nature of being a man, the nature. A woman.
Stoicism.
A woman wants. Do you want to walk next to a man that's gonna walk away when someone attacks you, or do you want your man to fucking defend you? To whatever extent he does to protect you.
Oh, of course. Yeah,
of course, what?
Of course.
Okay. So now it's okay for me to be a man and defend my wife, but it's not.
I think like a lot of what women hear is the term toxic masculinity, and they talk about misogyny and this and that. Like there's so many of these concepts that keep popping up, right? And
sorry, go ahead. My apologies.
Yeah, no. The point that I think that you were going with there is like one of the things that Andrew Tate really focuses on is stoicism is a practice that's non-existent anymore. And when you go, when if you're inclined to go to the gym to work out, right? And you work out with other dudes that motivate you and push you to level up, right? Like those are like little things, right, that are incremental and that are necessary for growth and development, right? But the perception from most women is, oh, it's toxic masculinity, it's chauvinism, it's this, it's that. Like there's tons of videos circulating about just random dudes asking girls about Andrew Tate. Oh, I hate Andrew Tate. Why? Oh, he's a misogynist. What did he say? Oh, I gotta go. You know what I mean? Like you can't really articulate as to why.
Okay, I'm gonna pause. Hold on. I'm gonna stop right there. Can I pause the recording and show you guys a video, and then we'll come back.
But before that, I want to ask you a question. Okay.
I didn't know you liked Andrew Tate. I didn't know.
Do you believe? What does it matter? Like, do you think of me different now? No. Anyways. Okay.
After you see this video, you'll see why I have such an issue. Okay,
so strippers, do you believe that they are there by choice?
Some of them are, some of them are not.
Now, what percentage of strip clubs are owned by men?
I have no idea.
It doesn't matter, actually.
Let's call it 80%, if
Okay.
not 90 to 95%. Let's just, and this is just a guess, okay?
Okay.
A guess.
Uh-huh.
Do you believe that all strip club owners are also holding women ransom and not letting them go, or are they letting them work for their money and make their money?
Some of them are good and some of them are shady. I don't know. I have
But
no idea.
Andrew Tate is wrong for what?
Can I show you the video and then we can continue the discussion?
So basically, Tate claims that he was charged with recruiting girls to make TikToks and stealing money from them. And the only evidence that they have against them is that some of the girls that he knows have TikTok accounts. Now, wanting to see if this were true, I decided to take a deeper look into his charges, because if what he's saying is true, then this would not only be a massive injustice that the whole world could rally behind, but we would also be able to verify it by looking at the indictment. Fortunately, the indictment is available online, which I've linked down below for anyone else who wants to read it. But as soon as I started to read the indictment, I very quickly realized that what Tate was saying wasn't fully true. Yes, he was charged with organized crime and trafficking, but not for the reasons that he gave. According to the indictment, Tate recruited victims in deception by falsely making them believe that he wanted to start a family or a relationship with them, even though he didn't. And real quick, to pause there for a second, whether this sounds fishy to you or not, we have to be clear on one thing. Lots of people don't know this, but trafficking isn't always done by force like how we saw in the movie Sound of Freedom. In fact, most trafficking isn't. There's a category of trafficking called the lover boy method that's done by seducing young, vulnerable girls or boys over a lengthy period of time in order to exploit them sexually later on. So in other words, if you're trying to get women to fall in love with you with the end goal of getting them to perform sex work as you get paid for it, then you're guilty of sex trafficking. Now, the reason why this is such bad news for Tate is because this is not only what he was charged with doing, but it's also exactly how he says he got rich to begin with. Because in his own words,
I was all about trying to get paid. Like I used sex as a tool to make women love me so they'd obey me and live in my house and make me money. That's what I wanted. So I was a pimp in that sense. Like, I was not trying to have sex with women. I was trying to get women to obey me. And I realized that's easier if they like to have sex with me. If they don't like having sex with me, it's pretty hard to make them listen to me.
So yeah, on corporatate.com, I have my PhD program, and that is PhD is a pimp and hose degree that I'm
Clever.
And
Clever.
that teaches basically how I got girls, how I met girls, how I got girls to like me, how I got girls to fall in love with me to work on webcam for me. That's what I did. That was my MO, was find girls, make them love me, and make them work for me.
now, as you could imagine, after I came across these clips and others like them, it made me start to seriously doubt that Tate is telling the truth when he says that he's not guilty of trafficking. And just so we're on the same page here, lover boy trafficking is when you lure a woman in by making her fall in love with you over a long period of time with the intent of making money off of her doing sex work. And as you just heard, Tate literally admitted to trafficking in those couple of clips alone. But we should be charitable. Maybe there's a context issue here that distorts the meaning of what he said. That, of course, is possible, but I also can't imagine what context could possibly be given the fact that in one of those clips, he's literally teaching a course on how to make money by getting women to do webcam.
The PhD course is my recruitment system. I don't mention webcam until after I've had sex with the girl. If you're on dates and you're trying to mention it and it just doesn't work. It puts them off. I'd never do that. That's disgusting. I'm not a whore. It's just not gonna work. You continue as normal, no mention of webcam. You fuck the girl. After you fuck the girl, you do the PhD test.
The other possibility is that he was lying and he wasn't being honest in those clips, in which case we would be forced to conclude that he lied to men in his courses in order to financially profit off of that lie. But no matter,
I just keep telling Ron, I'm like, look at this guy. This guy's a complete, like, first off, he's probably one of those guys that, you know, because he's not so good looking, that he's just sitting behind a camera trying to do, you know, like, it's one of those, like, loser guys that are, like, they don't know how to really interact with people.
Wait, who are you talking about? Are you talking about this guy from What Do You Meme? Or are you talking about Andrew Tate?
I'm just looking at Andrew Tate and his head. I don't like his head.
Oh, Andrew Tate, yeah. And I don't get his accent. Is it a fake British accent? What is happening with the
I didn't
accent?
get British at all.
He's British.
Yeah.
He has like a Britishish kind of tinge to his accent. It's very strange.
He, like, there's like a time period in the UK and a time period elsewhere.
He sounds really American to me, but I guess I have to listen carefully enough.
All right. So, yeah. So my point is, I can't ever support somebody like Andrew because he,
But I didn't say I support him. Like I I get him. I understand. Like I don't support everything he says, but there are certain things I agree with, and there are certain
yeah, he'll say some stuff that's common sense that people agree with. I
I don't
agree
have
with
to agree with every single thing he says just to say like, yeah, I follow him. I paid attention to him. That's cool. I don't have to agree with 100% of everything he says, right?
Yeah,
Can I not? Is it not okay for me to like certain things that he says and disagree with other things, or do
yeah,
I
that's
either
totally
agree
fine.
with
But
everything or disagree with everything?
that's totally fine. But my issue with him is that he has amassed a cult following of men who
Yeah,
are
yeah,
ride or die for him.
yeah.
I don't, and I'm agreeing with you about the whole. Like, I think men should be men, or and allowed to be men in whatever capacity that means to you. I can't answer that, right? But I do believe that masculinity is important and precious, and that we should support our men and their values and all that stuff. But I'm talking about good men. I'm not talking about men who are going to use their
Yeah.
power and their manipulation to do bad things to women.
Financial gain.
You
Yeah,
know?
I completely
Yeah.
understand. And I don't condone that either, right? I'm not saying go pimp a hoe.
Murad, sorry, question for you. Did you sign up for the PhD program?
Never, never. I've never actually been on his website. I've seen
Didn't make
videos on
much.
people that have taken his courses on certain things. I've seen a lot of videos of things that he said. But
Yeah, I think what's happening with Andrew Tate is, we started this topic by talking about whether male privilege actually exists.
Yeah.
I think what we're seeing in the West is the reverse energy that movements like the Me Too movement sought
also,
out to address.
what just because you said that, because it's been killing me, right? It's been really. I've wanted to say this. Do you guys, as ladies, okay, as women, do you think all these women that went up there and Me Too'd the shit out of a guy and ended his life, ended his career, ended his shit, do you think every single one of these women are actual victims?
So are you talking about Harvey Weinstein specifically?
No, no, no. I did not mention
Oh,
anything.
okay.
I said throughout this whole Me Too movement,
Mhm.
do you not think, do you not fucking Siri's listening all day?
So it's like not.
Yeah, she's like, no, I don't
Shitting
think. I
silent.
don't think. Um, do you think that every single girl that Me Too'd a man ended his career, okay? Whatever his livelihood is, whether that's an actor, writer, just a regular fucking corporate Joe, right? Do you think all of them were actually victims?
I'm sure a lot of women used it as like they used it in a manipulative and
Just
abusive
like
way
men
too.
use the advantage, women use the advantage. And that's what makes it, you know. But I again, like I said about corporate America, I still say that.
Yeah. And to build on to that, my final thoughts on this, listening to what has transpired, I think the bad thing about the Me Too movement and pushing the pendulum to one far extreme is that, I look today and I almost feel like men, especially in the West, are being, it's not a real word, but for what it's worth, demasculinated. Not a real word, but I hope you understand what I mean. It's like they are trying to break off what manhood and malehood actually stands for. I've heard, how many times I hear women say, well, if you were a real man, you wouldn't think like this. I ask myself, what if the roles were reversed? If you're a real woman, you'd do this, right? Is that tolerable? I don't think it is. And what's happening now is as a result of,
Can you imagine? Can you imagine telling your wife if you're a real woman?
oh, I say it every day.
He actually does say it jokingly to me.
Say if you
Oh my God.
You look at that, and when you do that, that's when the Andrew Tates come in, because you're leaving this void that's open to be filled. It might have been filled by Professor so and so, who's just an asshole, but sticks to the letter of the law. Once you bash these people to a corner and basically say, hey, listen, if you want to be a man, you have to do X, Y, and Z. You're basically opening up this void for these young people that's going to be filled by the Andrew Tates of the world. And for what it's worth, Andrew Tate says a lot of things that are right.
Thank
Mhm.
But
That's all I'm
it's not
saying.
necessarily right, Murad, because even a broken clock is going to be right twice a day.
Okay.
Right? So, but then because he's the only person who's out there talking about real issues that affect these young kids in a manner that they understand, guess who these kids are flocking
What
to?
about Jordan Peterson? He's a great, I love Jordan
I like
Peterson.
Jordan.
Yeah, he's all for
I love Jordan
masculinity.
Peterson too.
Me
And
too.
I also watch his daughter as well. Like
You
like
know his daughter?
He's a great example of like man and whatever, and without being toxic. I hate the word toxic now; it's been perverted, but
Yeah.
but without being horrible. Yeah. Yeah.
But are you telling me that you agree with everything Jordan Tate said? Jordan Tate.
Jordan Peterson, almost most things.
But
Yeah.
there are things that you don't agree with.
Well, that's like any human being, but generally their character I like. But I like Jordan Peterson's character. He has morals, he has values that I can align myself with. But Andrew Tate does not have that.
I believe Andrew Tate has some things that I could align with and some things that I completely disagree with.
Not me.
I personally would never run a business off of women exploiting women, right?
Mhm.
I personally wouldn't do that, right? But I
Mhm.
do agree with some of what other people say are his chauvinistic character, right? Just because he believes in a man's character and what a man should do and being.
But don't you see that his version of what a man is really perverted? Like it's not an ideal man. It's like a really messed up man. Like thank God he's not the ideal man.
He's not every man.
You'd be screwed if that was what all men would think is the ideal. The women are like screwed. Yeah.
He reminds me of what is that? Incel? What do you call those people?
The incel.
Incel. He's the opposite of the incel.
Yeah, he's like the.
No, I feel like that's the type of person he is. He feels like it seems like he's like kind of like a loser behind a computer. Like
No.
I feel like he's a guy who doesn't.
Okay, so
I think he looks.
So I think you're saying that because you've never ever seen anything that has to do with him,
Agreed.
right? Like you're talking about a person that you have not once seen.
What do you mean?
You
I
just
like-
You have to take in. You have to really take it in because if you look at snippets
some
and like
research.
videos, other people's opinion of Andrew Tate, you gotta take this, like, don't even consider that. Like, you just go straight to the source, right? Listen to Andrew Tate talk for like 3 hours, right?
Did you listen to him?
And
I've listened to some of his clips on TikTok.
You know what? I wasn't fully prepared to talk about Andrew Tate today. I have seen a few clips, but I've watched a Dr. Phil episode about toxic masculinity, and they spoke about Andrew Tate, so that's where I'm judging my opinion off. But you know what?
I have
Tate a chance, but he just looks. I just don't like the way he looks.
No, but you know what, T? I have seen stuff that he said that I agree with. Like when he was talking about the vaccine, I agree with him on that. There are points that I agree with him on. However, I will never be able to use him like as an example or rally behind him because of who he is as a character, and his morals and values don't align with mine. So, like for example, like I don't know, maybe Hitler has some things that I might agree with him on. Okay.
Wow.
He might like dogs. I like dogs. Yeah, dogs are great. I agree with you on that. I'm not going to rally behind Hitler because as a human being, we don't have the same values. That's how I feel about Andrew Tate. That's how I feel.
Kev, sorry, I interrupted you. Have you watched a lot of Andrew Tate stuff?
I wouldn't say a lot, but when I do watch anything Andrew Tate related, it's an entire segment. It's not bits and pieces. It's not chopped up videos. It's not this, that, and the other. Like, you got to really take it in, man. You know, like Murad said, you're not going to agree with everything the guy says. You know what I mean? Like, if I were to put a percentage, man, maybe I'd agree with maybe like 60-70% of what Andrew Tate says,
Oh, interesting.
right? And it's really more about like, it's more like of a philosophical approach, if anything. You know what I mean? It's again, going back to like, because he actually is a very like he actually is a very religious person, right? And though he converted to Islam, I think not too long ago, and I think that might be one of the reasons why he gets a lot of heat, because I don't know much about Islam, but like, the people that I do know have different views, have a different viewpoint than Western society, right? If you go to like any countries that are predominantly Islam, like, you can't. There's no way you're not going to be able to get away with talking about diversity and inclusion and women's rights and like this, that, and the other. Like, it's not a thing in some places in the world. Like, the reality is there's so much worse shit happening in the world right now that I think things like Andrew Tate and pronouns and fucking, like, all this shit is just like distraction. I don't want to deep dive too much into politics or geopolitics, but like, there's way more important things going on. I think a lot of this stuff is meant to just divide us, man. You know what I mean?
And if I can just jump in and connect, I don't know if you guys are following what's happening in Spain right now.
The Muslims dying. Talk about
Yo, tell us, break it down. What's happening in Spain, man?
No,
I
think,
feel like if you don't get it off your chest, man, you're gonna
yeah,
blow up, man.
exactly. It's whatever. All right. So, anyways, I'll give you a timeline. So we just had the Women's World Cup, right? And Spain won the World Cup against all odds. So what's interesting about the Spanish team is that shortly before the World Cup, several, of their key players actually quit the team and basically said, we want a change in the administration of football in Spain. They had complaints about the coach and also the Spanish Association. Fast forward, despite being crippled, the Spanish won the World Cup. Amazing. So, and this was against all odds, right? And during the celebrations, so here's a timeline. Yeah, exactly. Against all odds, right?
That's amazing.
The Spanish president of the Spanish Football Association, you know how when they win a trophy, they have to go on the stand and basically accept the medals, accept the trophy.
The parades.
These celebrations were very over the top. On one occasion, it's this gentleman who's at least 44 years old. The highlight was him grabbing one of the key players and basically kissing her on the lips. Initially, she was okay with it. So here's the time. So picture these ladies. They've just accomplished something that no one thought that they would accomplish. And this thing happens in the middle of the celebrations. And everyone thinks it's really weird. And right after the fact, people start complaining. He shouldn't have done that. So the player's name is Hermoso. She basically releases, there's a video of her in the change room, basically saying, I didn't enjoy the kiss.
In the change room.
Yeah.
So right after this happened.
Yes, she was caught on
like
Instagram.
a week later.
And fast forward a couple of days later, the Spanish Football Association releases a statement basically saying it was all consensual, everything is good. A day later, Jenny Hermoso, who's the player who was kissed, comes out with another statement saying, hey, listen, it wasn't consensual, and she's going to let the Football Association basically protect her rights. All these footballing bodies have come out and asked him to resign. At one stage, the president, his last name is Rubiales, Luis Rubiales. So last Friday, everyone thought he was going to resign. Fast forward, he declined to resign and basically had this charade where he gave this speech and said how wonderful he was. And the whole country, like from in Spain, is on fire insofar as football is concerned. Half the players are refusing, at least the women, to play for Spain again as a result of this incident. The FIFA just started an investigation against him. They suspended him for 90 days. Today I wake up and it's getting more weird and weird because the Spanish are basically saying, no, he's not going to resign. Screw FIFA, screw UEFA. And his mother today,
Sorry, Spanish, the country is saying this? Like Spain as the country?
Yes, they're divided. So if you watch football, Spain has a problem.
Okay.
A racism problem. Right? Okay. And there's been a lot of flashpoints where players of color are basically booed and they're monkey chants.
She's a player of color?
No, she's not. She's full Spanish, yeah. But they have this history and this unfortunate history with just racism, sexism, misogyny, you name it. So half the Spanish players, the women are refusing to play. And the other half is, it's bad all round. But today I wake up and I find out that his mother basically went to the church where they go to. And as soon as the priest went away, basically locked herself in the church and has gone on an official hunger strike until the persecution against his son ends.
You did all of this 20-minute conversation to let us know that his mom went on a hunger strike?
Yeah, so, well, I guess it comes down to this. Why is she going on a hunger strike?
I'm going to have to follow the story. I need to know how his mom's doing.
Who cares how his mom's doing, right?
No, this is crazy. The story gets crazier, so I need to know what's going on. What do you think?
Well, the mom wants the charges to go away. Right? She's saying this young lady, Jenny Hermoso, should come out and tell the world the truth. She consented to this.
Now this guy
so
just literally. Do you have a clip of that, Maureen? Can you?
Yeah, we should. Yeah. Just
see if I can find it.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
It all started with this uninvited kiss. As Spain celebrated its World Cup win in Sydney.
She was number 11.
Player Jenny Hermoso accused
10.
Spanish football boss Luis Rubiales of kissing her without consent.
See, here's his
He
11.
refused to resign with the controversy.
Oh, okay.
Okay, can I say something? Because like, it's really, this is what I was saying about the Me Too movement, right? When this happened, did she look extremely shocked and appalled that this guy did this?
No.
Was she like, oh my God, what are you doing?
No, but that doesn't mean she's okay with it.
But what? Sure.
Doesn't mean she's okay with it.
He's not doing it intentionally in the sense that this guy's not raping this woman.
Listen,
he's not raping his woman. He violated space. He got excited. Okay, he got excited, and he just kissed her. He kissed the other girl 3 times on the cheek after that. Is she complaining as well?
No.
Listen,
come on, guys! Like this is like you just won a championship.
I don't think his intention was to. It didn't look like his intention was to like take advantage of her. I think it was like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy. Like
I think you're right that he was just doing it out of excitement.
Control himself regardless, and
he does need to control. This is not something that he shouldn't be kissing everyone, everybody on the lips. Or don't just pick and choose, right?
No, but I just said it didn't look right. It looked very forced, and he grabbed her too. Look,
I saw he grabbed her, and it was aggressive. This. Yeah. It was aggressive.
Nobody wants to be kissed like that, even by someone who loves. Sometimes it's like you don't want to. So they'd be really careful. So yeah, I mean, I think he was excited.
I just
but
don't think
it
it's
was
as
just
bad as
too
they're
aggressive.
making it out to seem. Like it was aggressive, I agree, right? He
If
shouldn't
someone-
have.
if
He
I was on a
shouldn't
soccer
have kissed
team-
her. He
If I was on
shouldn't
a
have
soccer
kissed her.
team and that happened to me, what would you say?
Yeah,
You
I would be
play.
upset. I would probably punch him in the face. But I understand this is a world championship, right? Like I get it. I'm not saying like if she didn't condone to it, cool. But I think it's more of like an instinctive bullshit move
It was
of excitement.
Yeah, he was just so
of
happy.
excitement. It
I get
wasn't.
it,
It
but
wasn't a
people need to
malintended
control
like,
themselves.
oh, I want to sexually assault you. I want you sexually. That's not what it was. It was an unwarranted kiss, an unwanted kiss, and
There you go. Because
Right.
it was not consensual.
Right.
That's
but
where
but it's
draw the
not
line. That's
it's
it.
not like sexual assault, guys. Like that's what they're making it out to be, right? Like that's not what it was.
So
It's not fair. It's
Murad,
not fair.
what's sexual assault?
Okay, yeah, we're not going down that.
No, all right. So sexual assault is any
Oh, that-
Yeah,
any
we have
I
to be
will
careful.
not.
Just because it's kind of late, we have
Yeah,
to be careful.
I will not go down that.
So tired.
rabbit
all right. It's any unconsensual touching with a sexual connotation. So technically,
yeah.
if he's kissed her like that and she's not consenting, an argument can be made. I agree
hole.
with
An
you.
argument in legal wording and all that. I agree with you, word for word. Sure, he didn't do it. And look, guys. I'm not condoning this guy forcing himself on a girl. But what I'm saying is
You
that
gotta give the benefit of the doubt, but
at
honestly,
certain times, like sometimes
Just let go for it.
instinctive, just shoot your shot, man. No, like you just instinctively
happens.
do stupid shit. You shouldn't be. Your life and livelihood should not be ended because of a dumb thing that you did.
I agree with you.
Understanding, he should say, "I made a mistake. I didn't mean it in the way that everybody's seeing it right now, but I did make a mistake because she never asked for it. She never consented to it."
Well, he's saying he asked her before he went for the kiss. He's saying, I specifically said, "Can I kiss you?" And I was like, oh, okay. Well, that
And-
was a very quick.
said-
did she say that
and
that was
she
true?
said-
Did he say that?
He says she did say yes.
It doesn't look
What
like
did
he asked
she
her, but
say? What did she say? Did she say that he did that,
She
or is
said,
that
no, he's lying. He doesn't. Yeah.
He
okay,
didn't
I
ask
would.
her. He didn't ask.
why? Why?
Okay,
What
but
if she's getting me too'd right now because she wants attention?
He didn't ask. He's lying.
Okay, let me tell you what I think about this. I think that yes, he just did it out of excitement. Like he was just excited. Everyone was just excited, and I don't think he thought much of it. Maybe that's how he interacts with other women in his surroundings. And that's concerning to me. That like that's what he did on camera. What is he doing behind the camera? But at the same time, should he like lose his presidency for this? No. But if he was like a smart man, he should have come back and apologized and said, I'm so sorry. I was really excited. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't want to make you feel uncomfortable. It would have been done.
Well,
The fact that he's handling it the way he's handling it and doubling down on the fact that like he's so great and and not showing any compassion on the other side
That you
is what's
Well,
screwing him over.
in fairness to him, initially he said it was nothing, and I quote, anyone who disagrees with me is an idiot. Something along those lines, right?
Hold on, and
And-
that quote can't be followed by something along those lines,
That's what he said.
Right.
That's what he said.
All right, fair enough, Murad.
Right.
But he did refer to people who had an issue with that kiss as being idiots, right?
Yeah.
I quote the idiots part.
Yeah.
But then there was a lot of pressure in Spain, and he came out and they're like, listen, this is not going to go away. So that's when the apologies came and trying to justify.
Did he actually apologize?
I think he's trying to save his job. He did apologize, to his credit. He did apologize and says, hey, listen, it was in, part of I was excited and it was in the moment. She consented. Then she comes out and says, well, wait a second.
It's not an apology.
I didn't consent. But this is what I think he shouldn't lose his job. But that being said, my problem with the situation is prior to the World Cup, half the players quit as a result of the situation in the administration. And I'm thinking to myself, I've never heard of international players, soccer players, football players quitting the World Cup.
It must have been really bad then.
And then I look at his behavior in front of the world, the cameras. And this is the president of the
That's
Fed.
what I was saying.
And I
Like,
say,
that's how
I
it is.
get it. I get it. I see why all these women didn't want to
Yeah.
go. So that being said, taking all these women who quit before the World Cup and his behavior, the whole culture, Spain as a country has to look into itself.
So you're saying Spain has to reevaluate its whole soccer culture or its
Yeah.
whole culture in general.
Yeah, if you look at Spain is an interesting country.
And hire a whole new one.
Well, they can't. It's
Hire me.
Murad. It's a cultural thing, right? Some people disagree, but just a couple of months ago, we had the situation with Vinicius. Vinicius is a black player who plays for Real Madrid from Brazil, right? And there were a lot of monkey chants. And the president of La Liga, who's actually from Costa Rica and supports these right wings, is crazy. He's an interesting person. Came out and basically criticized the guy who was being booed by this crowd. And I just thought to myself, monkey chants in 2023, are you kidding me?
But there are.
No, that's in the U.S. In the U.S.
No, Europeans.
I know.
Europe.
What I'm saying is your mentality is U.S. and Canada monkey chants in 2023. To them, this is life. This is normal shit, right? They're not. Not everybody is at the same level of
Enlightenment.
sure.
So, which brings me to the male privilege thing. If you are in Spain, I will stand and march with you. All right? I will destroy the street lights with you. I will block traffic with you, but not in North America. We've got the same rights.
I wonder what would have happened had she slapped the president right after he kissed her. What do you think would have happened?
Oh, like Will Smith them?
Yeah, like he kissed her and she's like.
I think that she probably felt really awkward. You can see she was smiling.
Exactly. So there's another. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Because he made her feel really uncomfortable. Like he grabbed her and kissed her. She's like, "Yeah, this is great," and that's like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I know what that feels like. By the way, I know what that feels like because I've been in situations like that.
You want to make light of it.
I think most girls will know what that feels like when you're in a situation where somebody's doing something unwarranted towards you, but you don't want to make it more awkward, but you feel really uncomfortable, and you don't like. Yeah, I think we've all been in those kind of situations, so I understand why she didn't like push him away in front of everyone on TV and be like, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" Like,
this is like a moment in her life too. She's probably like, "Whoa, this is a lot." Like, you know.
Yeah.
And there's another additional footage of them in the changing rooms when she makes these comments that, well, I didn't like that. She's caught on camera. She's not talking to a camera, but someone is recording and she says something like, I didn't like that. Fast forward, he comes into the changing rooms and I think he realizes that he crossed the line, maybe kissing them on the cheeks. He can pass and be like, yeah, you know, in our Mediterranean / Spanish culture, we, you know, but the lips part was like, I think I crossed the line. So he goes up to her and is with his right hand holding her close to her.
Not her bum.
No, like holding her like this, in this fashion. And he's basically saying, well, me and what's her name, Jenny Hermoso are going to get married, blah, blah, blah. And you can tell she's smiling.
Now you're making it very weird.
Now he's doubling down.
Like you went from awkward to like just creepy, dude. Like
yeah, so there's footage of this conversation, and she looks
stupid. Sorry.
She just smiles. She doesn't
straight. She looks like a lesbian.
That's what I did. I went online and I was saying, "What's her partner?" And I think she has a girlfriend.
Yeah, she doesn't even look straight. She looks like typical. Like, no offense to the lesbians out there, but she looks like a butch lesbian. So, Kevin, any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Yeah, don't kiss lesbians in front of 10,000 people.
You know, well said. That was really profound. Like, I just feel
felt it right here, bro.
Yeah, that was wow.
Again, in Spain, they do weird shit. Like even men kiss each other on the lips, and in some places in the world, it's not seen as homosexual. It's just an expression of love, right? So it could have been taken out of context. It could not. It's hard to say if it was in the moment, it was an excitement, it could have been a lot of things that factored in, but her reaction, she didn't seem disgusted when when the kiss happened there and then. Maybe
Yeah.
she didn't know how to react. Maybe she was stunned. Maybe it was like deer in the headlights. Whatever. It could have been a number of different things, right? But when you step away from the situation, from when it happens, you have time to kind of like process your thoughts and how you feel, and you're capable of actually making sense of what happened, right? But in my opinion, I think it's something that got blown way out of proportion. If he had malicious intent, I really don't think that he would have done it in front of 10,000 people or the president of the FIFA Federation or whatever, right? Like, I think it just really got taken really out of hand. And if she had actually slapped him, that was the point, sorry. If she had actually slapped him as a reaction, an initial reaction, right, there's more of a likelihood of him being apologetic about the situation and the incident than her just laughing it off and walking away.
Because he has such an ego. He might have gotten upset. He might, I don't know. Like, what level of ego do you have to have?
Well, if you get
Be like,
checked in
no,
front of,
I
like,
didn't do
tens of
anything
thousands
wrong.
of
She
people.
went, like, my mom is going on a hunger strike until you apologize.
Yeah, if
the mom
anybody
locked
gets
herself
checked
up in
like
the
that,
fridge.
like if she had slapped him right there and then, you get checked in front of 10,000 people, like you have no choice but to apologize.
But she did check him, and she was trying to like do it kind of like, in my opinion,
She didn't check him. She
You're
laughed and she
speaking
walked
for
away.
her, Maureen. What do you know?
No. But she said from day one, she was saying it wasn't consensual. She didn't actually like it. She didn't disrespect him in the moment. But she said that she did not consent. At no point did she say, yeah, I liked it. She didn't like it. And she's a lesbian. It's obvious that she wouldn't like it no matter what.
But
So,
he didn't do it sexually. That's the thing that I'm
debatable.
and I don't know this. Yeah, it's debate.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't know that. I can't speak for the man,
Yeah.
but based on the situation, okay, my I don't want to say guess because it just makes me sound stupid, but I would think that it's out of excitement. You're in a like you guys are forgetting,
Yeah.
like you guys are putting
They
yourself.
just won a champion. He was very happy. I actually think that if it was a man, he probably would have kissed him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think so too.
So excited that
Exactly.
he actually might have kissed the man.
No, I don't think that.
Even if it
I
was a
don't
man,
think that.
there's no consent.
There's no way that would have happened because he didn't kiss the whole team. It's just that one girl.
No,
I
but
think
the
like
one right after he kissed her right on the cheek.
on the cheek is different.
On the neck.
No.
On the neck could have been taken sexually
I
too.
actually think that he caught himself after he kissed her on the lips. I think that
He realized like, I shouldn't do that. Exactly.
She probably just started to just filling them up.
Yeah.
Okay, honestly, all of us are just speculating right now about motives and all that stuff.
Of course, we're all giving our
yeah.
opinion on it.
But I think at the end of the day, like, I don't think he should not be the president for that, but I do think he should have just sucked it in and like apologized. Like,
I do think as soon as
he was in the wrong, he put his on somebody without asking.
As soon as she said it wasn't consensual, he should have been like, I'm sorry.
He was
and not only am I sorry, I didn't mean it sexually. Like he should have clarified that it was just out of excitement.
That's what he should have done.
It was a misjudgment on my part. Like something to admit to his fault. Like I believe that if you make a mistake, you should own up to it. Say, I'm sorry, I did that, but it wasn't in the same like context that other people are saying. And I do apologize for doing that because it was the wrong thing. But I didn't mean it in a sexual manner. Like, I'm sure as the coach or as the president, he knows this girl's gay, right? Like he knows this girl, like it's not meant as a sexual what do they call it?
Advance.
Yeah, but he should own up to his if she said it wasn't consensual, or even if it was like, oh, it made me uncomfortable.
It wasn't welcomed.
Yeah. So at that point, say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you feel uncomfortable. Misjudgment on my part. I apologize.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Just like
hey,
you guys
Kevin,
said.
it was 75,000 people in the stadium, not 10.
Jeez,
Tens of thousands.
It was good to hear your perspective, so we really appreciate that.
Thank you guys so much for coming on. Yeah, it was great having you. We're definitely gonna have you guys on again.
Our podcast is called Juice and Judgment.
Yeah.
Like, shout out to all our subscribers. We appreciate you. We see you. We love
Gang,
you.
gang.
Yeah. And everyone, don't forget to
Click
follow
the subscribe.
Instagram, TikTok.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Subscribe.
Email us.
Yeah.
Don't forget to
We want to
follow.
hear from you guys. And if you have an opinion on anything, or if there's anything you want us to talk about, reach out to us because we want to hear from you. We're here for you. Okay. So
Thanks, guys. Have a great week. We'll see you in the next one.
stay refreshed. Bye.
Bye.